everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome to our 6x6 series. And this is not only 6x6, this is 6x6 SG style. Yes, Scrapbook Generation style, because we are going to be showcasing this fabulous class by the fabulous Allison Davis 6x6 paper pads. And there was an intro where we talked all about Scrapbook Generations and this class, and also to a discount. So look below for all that information of the intro video, how we're going to take this class. And if you want to get this class in hand so you can go along with us and talk about it, you can, but it is absolutely not needed for this class because we're just going to be playing with 6x6 paper pads. But there is a lot in this class we're going to talk about, so definitely hit the show more button below and you will see more information. And so yes, you can absolutely grab it for a discount, and that discount is for a certain time period. So if you want it, get it sooner than later, because it is a it's only for a certain time. Okay, so let's get into this class and showcasing. And of course, today I had said in the previous video we were going to play with sketch number 1. Why not? Because we might as well start at the beginning. I will not be showing every sketch. I will not be talking about every sketch. This is why you should get the class. But we're going to talk about the concept of this class that Allison created. So Allison starts out her class as she always does, and she does a lot of great explaining. And she talked about why 6x6 paper pads are not just for card makers and crafters. There is also a place for us in our scrapbooking stash and inventory. So she went in to explain that. So definitely don't skip over that info. Read this class from cover to cover, because again, this is a concept. It's not just a class. There's a lot to learn from Allison because she's a pro at this. And then the next thing she went into, now in this class, there's about 50 pages in this class. And not only does she give you a sketch, but then she also gives you a full 8.5 by 11 page of that layout as a photo with all the information she used to create it, and then detailed shots, and then notes. So for every sketch, there's basically 4 pieces of paper. So it's really an awesome class. You need to look into that. So she starts out, and we're going to take this step by step. And again, I'm not going to show every layout, but we're going to start with layout number 1. And so the first concept that Allison talks about in this class is using 6x6 paper pads as they are, as is. And so that means in this 6x6 size, this is the easiest thing you can do for scrapbooking. And again, if you don't have any 6x6 paper pads, fear not, my friend, just use anything. A 6x8, 8x8, a 12x12 piece of paper, scraps, anything. Just cut it in 6x6 and play along. You don't need a 6x6 paper pad, and you do not need this class to have fun here at RTS. No, you know how we wing things? It's all about recording the story, absolutely. So using Allison's concept as using a piece of paper in this pad as is, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And this class is not only great, but it's a fast class, because it's going very back to the basics of a 6x6 paper pad, and then you build from it. And so if you have this class, we will be talking about that in the next segment of what Allison did in her layout. So grab that information on layout number 1, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. So basically what we're going to do in the series is I'm going to talk about the layout, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do just to create a start to finish page, because that's what it is, using Allison's tip. So what I'm going to be playing with is with some princess photos that I took of my little girl, and these are not only did they turn out great, but it was the first time I ever used a digital camera. So this was learning how to use a digital camera back in 2004. That was 15 years ago, yes. And so that's why I have so many. And I will tell you, I was so tickled because, you know, when you go from a standard 35mm to a digital, you can snap and snap and snap and learn your camera and play. And I get asked that a lot about my photos, and it really simply is about playing with your photos and knowing your camera, and then playing with your camera and then knowing your photos. That's exactly what it is. And so we also too have a photo series here at RTS. Hit the show more button, and that photo series playlist will be there, and we'll be talking about that in 2020. So this is just simply by playing, learning lighting, learning settings on that digital Fuji. And I do really like Fuji cameras. That's my bag. So I'm going to be playing with this photo shoot that I took of just underneath the front tree. Yes, and of course she was all decked out in some princess gear. So let your children dress up how they want, and then just do a photo shoot and play and just have fun together enjoying these memories. And so then of course I'm going to use in my mind's eye Splendor 6x6. And so what am I going to do as for my supplies? Because, you know, this is a start to finish. So I have some cardstock picked out. My main cardstock will be this embossed, beautiful white cardstock. It has like a fleur-de-lis floral type of image. And then I also have some other 12x12s because I may do a background of my cardstock. I may. I'm not sure, so I pulled them. If I use them, I use them. If I don't, I don't. But then to go with the 6x6 paper pad and these photos, what I simply did was I took the easy route because I had talked in the intro video, when you're playing with a class such as this and you're pulling out a certain product, and in this case 6x6, start with your favorite or what you just bought or what you're itching to use or something trendy. Just have fun with it. So what I did, of course, with the Splendor, my little one last year for Christmas got me this collection for Christmas, and so I have the journaling cards, I have enamel dots, and I have the ephemera pack. So this is the time to play. Bring out all the good stuff, the new stuff, the fun stuff, and play. Don't be waiting for that perfect photo. That perfect story is now. And then with that, you know, of course, this 6x6 paper pad came from Tuesday morning at $3 because my little girl had got me all the 12x12 papers. And then, of course, you know what I found? I found the bread pack. Well, yes, I squealed like a 2-year-old. Yes, because I will not pay $6 for a pack of breads, but for $1.99? Yeah, and with the collection, I didn't get the 6x6, but look what it was at Tuesday morning, $2.99. Now, of course, in the last recent months, Tuesday morning prices have jumped, so definitely compare those prices. And sometimes when you see this comparable estimated value, please know that that is not always accurate. If you went on to Scrapbook Generations or a Cherry on Top or scrapbook.com, you would see that that price sometimes is not what that says. So just don't always go by that. Just don't. Okay, so I'm playing with the Splendor collection. And then with that, I am adding, you know, using this as my main focal photo. You can see I have a ton of photos. I will not be using all of these, but I definitely could play with 2 or more layouts, and we'll talk about that. So using this one, I'm using the Splendor, and then I picked some thickers, and I'm probably going to use a big word for my title, and I didn't know if I wanted white or pink, so guess what I did? I picked both, and then as I was picking out these white, I saw these foam hearts, and I know I saw flowers somewhere. So when you're picking out thickers, don't always think that this is an alpha. There's also other elements. Now, I know I saw it. Give me a minute. I know I saw them. Oh dear great gravy, where are they? Wasn't there flowers? What did I do? Oh, there they are. See the flowers? I mean, is that not perfect? So that just gives you, I know there was another one. There was somewhere. There is just, you can use these as embellishments even if you don't use the alphas, is what I was trying to say. So don't overlook that when you're pulling a thicker or an alpha pack. Also look at those bits and bobs. Those are perfect for a page. I'll move that because that's probably some glare. And then also I grabbed my purple color drawer, and I will have the video linked below. Look at the end of that very long video for what these containers are and how I do it. Just been rainbow water, and this is my purple lump and bump. Yes, because in my photos, my little girl was on a purple princess blanket, so I thought I might add a pop of purple because there's not really any purple in the Splendor collection. So that was just an addition. I will put that there. Oh, because I see these felt flowers. Yeah, I'm already playing. So then also too, if you know anything about Allison Davis and her work, and again, the links for all of Scrapbook Generations and Allison, everything that you could possibly want to learn about this company and these people are listed below. Hit those individual links and go to and learn some more about this wonderful company. Again, one of the top 3 scrapbook companies in this entire industry. And so if you know Allison Davis, what is she known for? Stitching. So I thought to start off this series, that's exactly what I would do. I would pull out my floss, and I have all of my floss in one box on a photo box. Well, I have some overflow, and I just have it in baggies. And so inside I have a bag of black, and I think that's what I may do. And I think I may have some purple. Of course, I have pink. So everything I need is in one box. box, along with a little piercing plate by Amy Tangerine, the little piercing tool, and then of course some of these floss keepers. Keep things together that you use together from the lovely Tiffany Spaulding. Yes, so I am going to play with some stitching, and I might do stitching in a little different manner this time. And then along with that, I pulled out my stitching templates because I don't know what I'm going to stitch. I may stitch a complete border, or I may just do stitching around some paper or some die cuts, not sure. So I pulled this, and this is how I have all of my stitching templates organized in just a pocket envelope. There's my templates. And if you have small templates, here's a great tip. Use those leftover 8x8 page protectors. A lot of us don't use this size anymore, so don't get rid of those page protectors. Use them for organizing, and so they're perfect. Instead of all these little things falling to the bottom of this pocket, I just have an 8x8 page protector, so great use for that. So I'm excited to do some stitching because, like I said, if you know Allison Davis, I think she has stitching on basically every one of her layouts. That is her signature style is stitching. So why not play along and do some stitching? So that's the supplies I picked out. So now let's talk about as is. Okay, so let me move these items for a minute. I certainly wouldn't want that to go tumbling to the floor. No, no, no. Okay, so this is just about playing in this class, learning a concept of 6x6. So in the beginning, Allison talks in layout number 1 using a 6x6 paper pad as is. And what does she mean by that? That means simply as this 6x6 paper size. As is. Rip it out of the book and use it as it is. Plop it down and do it. And you can see in her layout, for layout number 1, she uses one piece of paper in 6x6 on her layout. Yes. And now it is a showstopper. Yes, it is for her title and her main embellishment, and it's the grounding piece for her entire layout. You definitely need to check out layout number 1. And so I'm going to do a flip through, and I'm going to show you the one piece of paper I'm going to pull out of here and use as is. Okay, and so of course we have some floral, we have stripes. Any of these would work. It's whatever's your favorite. There is no wrong way to do this. But I'm going to show you something that there's a type of paper in here that we struggle with using. Of course, look at this gorgeous piece of paper. Gorgeous. Yes, play with your paper pads this round. Your favorite ones. The ones you just been like, I don't have the perfect photo. It doesn't matter. This is the one we're going to use. And I'm going to go ahead and tear it out of here. This paper is quality. Oh, let's just talk about this a minute. Let's talk about paper pads, okay? And all of these videos I will put in the Paper Pad Party playlist along with a 6x6 series playlist so you can see them both ways. Well, you know what? I'll do that in the next video. We're going to do some comparing. If you bought a 6x6 paper pad from a manufacturer when it was released versus if you bought one at Tuesday Morning or another discount store. We're going to talk about that. So this is the one I'm going to use, okay? Because there is clearly a difference. Okay, so I'm going to have to just tear this out. And this is the one I'm going to use. And I am going to use this as Alice inspired, as is. I'm going to use it in 6x6 size. And I'm going to use this as my title base. And also to maybe also my journaling. How quick is that? And so I'm going to just play here a little bit. So let's just pretend, well, let's just scrapbook. Yeah. These videos may be long, may be short. It all depends. So we're going to cut this, and we're going to cut this in 6x6. So if I took this piece of paper to my 6-inch size, guess what? Yeah, it's a little short. Oh my goodness, I don't know how that happens with companies. So this is a little less than 6 inches to get rid of that cut mark that my mind's eye has there. But you wing it. Nothing is perfect in this hobby. Nothing's perfect in life. So I'm going to use this as is on this layout, and that is the start of my page. And so then, of course, there's my focal photo. And then what we could do here is that we're going to play. Now, I'm going to do, when I do my start to finish, you know, the whole purpose of having a class is to do it in your style. And so that if you have this physical class, you'll see that my layout won't always look like Allison's because you put your own spin on it. And so what you can do then is play with this, and then using just one 6x6 paper, I mean, how quick is a layout? Because if you had something like this, this is a photo shoot, okay? And I'm just putting any photo here. And let me see if I can find a, let's see if I can find one here. That is a, these are just beautiful. Okay. Again, these are the first photos I ever took with a digital camera. Just had fun. So this is how simple and how quick Allison was trying to convey in this concept in this class. You just take a piece of paper, 6 by 6, use it as it is, and there is your page. And then you can put your title, you can put your journaling here, an embellishment cluster, and you're done. That is how simple it is. Let me just show you something. Do you see why I say you need this class? Because this is why. She shows you not only to do very pretty layouts, but then also to very simple, quick layouts. And so that is how simple it is. You just take a piece of paper, use it as it is. Now, of course, my style is a little bit more than this. So when I come back, I will show you how I took some of these photos. And you know, if it depends on, let's see. I shouldn't promise this, but it depends on how this goes, because this is a quick layout, quick sketch. Maybe I would come back with a 2 double page because it's very quick. It depends on how, if my stitching gets involved, because I have lots to do. So I would just show you how versatile. And then also remember, if you have whatever else you have in your items to play with, I have these journaling cards. So not only could I use just simply one piece of 6 by 6 paper pad, and this type of image here that we struggle with using, this is what Allison was trying to convey. Use this one piece, and then you could put your title, you could put your journaling, or neither one. You could use that for an embellishments. And then I'm going to show how you could also incorporate other things with your 6 by 6 as is paper pad. Now I'm just simply just playing. And so I'm just playing. I'm just pulling out these in a very quick manner. And we are going to, oh, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Amen. Yes, love that. And so then what I'm saying is, I'm just looking. I'm just having fun. Oh, I got to put that on there. Got to put that on there. Okay. So I'm going to show how I take Allison's concept of using one piece of paper from a 6 by 6 paper pad, using it as is, and how I make it my own. And I can use journaling cards. I can use additional paper from this pad. So that's what we're going to talk about. And so really, I mean, there's really not much to it. Take one piece of paper, use it as it is in that 6 by 6 size. And so this is the start of this class, this concept of how you can look at your 6 by 6 paper pads differently. This piece of paper that's always a struggle for us. And I think in this paper pad, that was the only one that really had that big image, but this would be another one. This has an image, even though these are scaled down prints, because in a 6 by 6 paper pad, these images are scaled down 25% than a normal 12 by 12 piece of paper. If this is a struggle for you to use, take this out of your pad and let this be your as is. Use it as this design, and then don't do anything with it. Just let that be a piece of paper as is. You don't have to do anything else to it. You don't have to layer anything on top of it. Again, something like this. This is a beautiful piece of paper. You could take it from this paper pad, plop it right here on your layout. Sorry, my stomach's growling. Yeah, I probably should have ate something. And just too excited to play today. And so you could take this out. And let me just do that. Why not? Okay, now pretend that that top was cut off. And so you just use that piece of paper as it is. And then, of course, I have journaling cards here. Because, you know, I'm gonna make this my own. But how quick is that for a layout? You could come up here with your title and journaling, add just a couple clusters. You could do a cluster here, and call it done, really. But you just use that piece of paper as it is. It doesn't have to be something that is this image and you incorporate a title and a journaling. You could use something as simple as this. This is your main pattern. And because this is so beautiful and has such an impact, you don't need all this other stuff. Absolutely. Let's just do one more. Let's find something else that is as is. There's the cuckoo clocks. Of course, this whole, I mean, look at that. Ugh, beautiful. Let's see if we could find something else. Okay, right here's a good one. Right here's a good one. Right here's a good one. Because this already has, it already has color, it already has images, and it already has text. So this would be good if you're doing a layout and you really don't have a lot to say. Let your paper, as is, do the work for you. And so right here, Look at that. Is that not a showstopper? Again, you're using a piece of paper as is in this 6x6 size, and you're letting the manufacturer's design doing the work for you. So right there was 3 different examples of as is. Just, I mean, you're just tearing and you're displaying. That's all it is. And then, of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play around with my journaling cards. I'm going to play around with my die cuts. I'm going to play around with my brads. And, of course, you know, finishing touch enamel dots. Absolutely. So I'm going to play and make this my own style. But if you have this class, you can definitely see Allison's style is something as minimalist and gorgeous, just like this, using a piece of paper as is. And that's the one I'm going to use. So come back and I will show you my finished layout. And you know, when I planned this content, this was just going to be 1 page. And so let me talk about that for a minute. If you have a lot of photos, you could do it like this. But then remember, anything that we do in this class, it can be 1 layout or 2 layout. You could just focus on something like this. Let's just keep playing for a minute. You know, and this is where I have to stop myself because I get too excited. You could, if you had 2 photos, 4x6 size, because Scrapbook Generations is known for a lot of sketches and a lot of kits and a lot of everything with 4x6 photos. So you could use this as it is. There's that horizontal, there's that vertical format that we're always struggling to figure out how to do. And then what you could do is come and give yourself a background mat. Again, using, now I would cut that white embossed cardstock down a little bit. I mean, look at that. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll come back with just a 1 page and a double page. And so then you give yourself a mat, use this 6x6 as it is. I mean, look at that. You could do your title and journaling. Oh, let's find another piece of paper. Yeah, let's find another piece of paper. Oh, look at this. And I'll cover up that header. I mean, and is that not easy? Is that not quick? That's Scrapbook Generations. That is this class by Allison Davis, the concept of doing things quickly but also too pretty. So when you're looking at that paper pad, look at the papers as a whole, as that 6x6, as that beautiful image, as that beautiful artwork. Absolutely. So come back and we're going to, I'll show you how my finished layout turned out. Okay, hold on. All right, I am back with my finished 2-page layout, but originally I was only going to do a 1-page layout, and then I have a bonus with that. Yes, but first of all, I want to thank all of you for being excited for the 6x6 series, because when you're excited, then I'm excited. Yes, and so let's add to that excitement, shall we? Absolutely, because, let me look here, I have a giveaway. Yes, I do. Why not start off this 6x6 series in a good way? So I have a little giveaway here, and so it is for the actual My Mind's Eye Splendor paper pad that I am using in this video, and then along with that, the stamp set that goes with this. And I have absolutely used this stamp set in Kit Crunch in February, so I have that playlist for Kit Crunch. Look in the February, because I love this stamp, and absolutely that matches, you'll see on the next page, that matches the die cuts, and so you could stamp them out any color, and this is such an easy fussy cut, and we talk about that in Kit Crunch. And then along with that, if you have floral, you have to have wood grain. Yes, so this is just a little giveaway for this series, and so I will pick a winner after the end of the series. And so this is open for US and international, because it's just a few items. I don't think anything would break and move around and shake and cause problems. So just be a subscriber over 18, and you must leave a comment, and 1 comment only, please, because then that does not mess up the YouTube random picker. So yes, that is the giveaway, this actual 6x6 paper pad, the stamp set that goes with the Splendor collection, and then of course lovely wood grain embossing folder. Yes, so definitely get your name in that drawing. How fun is that? You know I gotta have something to give away when we're doing a series. Yes, okay, so let's talk about, we're going to talk about the 2-page that I did. We're going to talk about what Allison did, and then we're going to talk about the bonus I did. Yeah, so hang on, baby. Let's go for a ride. Yes, so the 2-page I did was exactly what I showed. I just took my photos, arranged them around the 6x6 paper as is, and you can see that I clearly put my title, Sweet Blessing, because that is what my little girl is, my sweet blessing in life. And then, of course, from the brad pack, I used the one that said Lovely Day, and I also did some stitching, and we'll talk about stitching. And so this is a very simple page. but it doesn't look simple, is it? No, it's because of the use of color. And how many photos did I get on there? I got 7, and let's see, 5 of those are 4x6, and these 2 were just cut down a hair. Because when you have, let me move my bowls here. When you have photos that are basically the same thing, they don't all have to be in 4x6 because you already captured some of this in other photos. So don't be afraid to cut your photos down. And we'll talk about photo size as to what Allison did too. And then of course what I did over here on the right, I just used those journaling cards because I was playing with the collection. And then up here I did a little bit of color blocking just to bring that pink right around here. And that came from the paper pad. It's just a little 1x6 piece of paper, which could be a scrap. And so then you see here on the left, it's on embossed cardstock. And then I did cut that embossed cardstock down, and I gave it this polka dotted black mat, something different, something fun to bring in all of my stitching, because I have stitching here in the leaves, I have stitching over here in the leaves, and I have stitching here that I made my leaves. Yes, so what I did was I took that 6x6 piece of paper as is. I used the design as is, and I used it as my title, a little bit of a subtitle, and then I decorated that image. And so what I did was I absolutely broke out some floss and thread, and I did some stitching on the leaves. And now I will tell you, when you're doing stitching like this, do your stitching before you adhere it, because then I would have had to go through 3 layers of paper. That's impossible. You can't stitch like that. No, you would just have so many big holes. It would be a struggle. So stitch before you put on the, before you adhere it down. And then of course, then if you know, the background isn't, the back of your stitching is going to look all messy and wompy. But if I turn this over, you don't see anything but a couple pieces of washi tape. So definitely do your stitching before. And then of course I did add a couple silver photo corners to go with the costume. She had some silver in her costume. And then of course over here on the right, again, simple. It's just 4 photos with 3 journaling cards. 2 photos are cut down, 1 journaling card is cut down, and again with my stitching, I just did a little bit up here in the leaves, and you'll see some close-ups at the end, and then down here I made these leaves, and I'll show you how I did that with the Amy Tangerine template. Now this is an older product, but I say don't get rid of it because there's a lot of versatility. And here's the set. And you can still find these, and I see that they are on clearance in a lot of stores. And this is the set that I used right here. She has a couple sets, and this leaf right here is wonderful. This heart, I've used that before. That was in the Kid Crunch series. And this arrow, it's just a really versatile set. Now, speaking of templates, Allison Davis has a free stitching template on the website, and so I will have that linked below, and it has something to do about being mom, so definitely check that link below. So that is what I did. I'm going to talk about stitching more in just a minute. You know how I like to show tips and tricks. And so what I did was I stitched those on a piece of just plain basic leftover scrap cardstock, and then I stitched, and then I cut it out. That's how I did that. And so very simple to do, because there you can see that my stitching makes a visual triangle. So a visual triangle does not have to be an actual product. It can be a technique in your visual triangle. So I have stitching, stitching, and stitching, and it makes a visual triangle. Yes, how is that? Absolutely. Now I did get some purple in here, and then that purple was just these Dollar Tree rhinestones. Yes, the Dollar Tree. And I just added a couple purple rhinestones for the eye, and a little in here and a little in here. Now this is a layout that I don't really have a lot to say, because I have scrapbooked this before, because I took a lot of photos this day because we were just playing around and having fun. So when you don't, when you want to have some journaling on there, but you don't want to journal, I want to show you a product that is absolutely fantastic to have in your stash. And what is that? These Tim Holtz Chitchat books. And so you can find them on clearance, you can find them in Hobby Lobby, get them on sale. And so he has, I don't know how many different sets he has, but there's small talk, big chat, small chat, chit chat. So look at what your description is. There are different sets, and they even have, he even has one that's just for you know, holidays and occasions. And so I use all these. There's one that's even snarky. Yeah. Everybody's got someone snarky in their family. So this is something that's really invaluable, and you will get a lot of use, because this has 296, this has 1088, this one has 346, this one has 478, and this one has 88. And so I'll just show you what the big talk is. They're just bigger. Okay, now let me show you the occasions. Well, I'll show you the one that's got 1,000. See how small they are? So they're different sizes, different sentiments, but man, what a great thing to have in your stash, especially if you're someone that you just struggle journaling. Let someone else's product do the work for you. So, of course, I have up here, you make my heart smile, I love you, and always and forever, because that's exactly probably what I would have wrote in the journaling anyways, because that's all this really is. And so I think that was it for this layout. Of course, I have one more to show you because I definitely used another piece of paper as is. So I did a bonus, and isn't that funny? This is what I mean about this class. I just love this class. It just takes me in all different directions. And then I only planned a 1-page layout for this video. And now I did a 2-page plus a bonus. Interesting. Okay. So yes, we're going to talk about a few more things. So let's, I'll just let you look at this for a minute. I hope I don't get too much glare. But let's talk about Allison's layout for a minute. And so if you have it, we can look to the side here. And if you don't have it, that's okay. Look at the link below. There will be a link for Allison Davis work, so you could hop over and check out, because she does have a signature style. So if you look at the layout example that Allison has in the class, look at the piece of paper she used for her design on her 6x6. That's the only piece of paper she used on that whole layout. And then look at what she used it for. She used it for her paper, her design, the embellishments, and then also to her title and subtitle. I mean, yeah, she really worked. That 6x6 piece of paper, she really did. And then look at what she did for her photo treatments. That's something that we kind of forget to do. And then overall, this is a very simple, easy, and it's definitely so pretty. Absolutely. And then look at the close-ups. And if you look at the close-ups that she did, look at what she did to the alphas on that 6x6. Again, something else we forget to do. And then also, if you look at the actual sketch, you'll see that she has a lot of measurements there. So in that one description where there's a lot of measurements, what I do is I underline each one of those sketch measurements, so it's a little easier to read. So that's a little bit of a hack. When you have a sketch that has a ton of measurements, underline each one. It's just a little easier to read. And so, of course, you can see in my layout, I didn't do anything with those measurements. No, I made it my own. Okay, so how many photos did Allison have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She had 6. I got 7 on there because she used some 3x3s. You can definitely take 3x3s and make that into a 6x6. Very, very fun. Okay, so let's go to the bonus layout that I did. Did not plan, but that's just the way this class takes me, and that's why I love it so. So again, I took another piece of that 6x6 out of that My Mind's Eye Splendor paper pad, and I took it as it is, and I used it as it is. And so that in the middle is a 6x6 piece of paper. Now, do you see a full 6x6? No, doesn't matter to me, because I would much rather see my photos. I cut my photos 4x6, and I didn't cut the paper down. No, I overlap. And I will tell you, that is something I learned a long time ago in scrapbooking. It's easier to overlap than try to get things to meet up side by side. So I overlap. So these photos are overlapping some of the 6x6 paper pad. And of course, you look at the showstopper on the left is stitching, because I was just inspired by Allison's work, because that's her signature style, is her stitching. So I broke out a template. Now these are by Basil. This is another old school product. You can find a lot of these in D-stashes. And then someone had asked me, actually a couple people have asked me recently, because in the fall and the winter I do more stitching, and that's definitely the only time I crochet is in the winter and the fall, is that you can go to scrapbook stores. Don't really have these anymore, okay, but you can go into sewing stores, quilting stores, go into the sewing department, and sometimes you can find these. Sometimes in specialty stores, quilt stores. There's a lot more quilt stores now and fabric stores than there is scrapbooking. So go in there and you could find some of these templates. Just ask for stitching templates. And so then I just used this one here, and I punched my paper. And now, of course, I punched my paper. That was the first thing I did. I did my stitching, and then I adhered my cardstock, cut it down, and then I did all of my lovely little playing. And this layout, after the stitching, it took probably 20 minutes. I mean, because when you do stitching, or especially you mixed media gals, when you put so much time and energy into your mixed media, and for her stitching, then you want the rest of the page to be easy, because you can't spend 40 minutes on this and 40 minutes on photo treatments, 40 minutes on creating a title. You'd be here 3 weeks. No. So when I always tell myself, when I do something like stitching, and that's the template, and that's the actual stitching, then I make the rest of the page easy. So all I did was bring the stitching over here to the right. as far as adding some thread, and then I got my visual triangle in as the black. So this again is a very simple page. It's simple, very simple. 2 4x6 photos, a 6x6 piece of paper, did some stitching, and again used the Tim Holtz Chitchat, those little word stickers. You can find them in Hobby Lobby. Use a coupon. And that is my journaling, because it's basically the same thing, and my title says love you. And I just took some of those die cuts that was part of the collection. Really nice set. They were expensive. They were expensive, I will say that. If it wouldn't have been a gift, I probably would have never bought them. No, it was very expensive. I think it was $6 or $7 for a pack of die cuts. And so then I just layered them, and I added some Wink of Stella just to get a little bit of bling on there. And then, of course, let's talk about visual triangles. So in the visual triangle here, this black here and this black thread and this black die cut, that makes a visual triangle. And then, of course, I added a few pieces of purple. So purple here, here, and here. So within my purple visual triangle, I have another visual triangle. So I'll point it out. So right here is the purple visual triangle, but then within that, there's another visual triangle of that purple. So you can do a visual triangle inside a visual triangle within your clusters. Absolutely. When you don't know what to do, think about that visual triangle. It really helps you. And then, of course, I didn't show that in the previous layout, but I'll show you here in just a minute. Look what I did to that 6x6. I added some Nouveau drops. Yes. Now, I don't buy anything but the gloss. That's just my preferred, and I'm trying to love these. So these are crystal drops, and they're just the gloss to look like enamel dots. It's not enamel dots, but you know, it's a second cousin to enamel dots. So I did do that, and I also added some just in the big flower centers, just as something a little extra. And then also too, I'm trying to love this product. I really am trying to love it because, you know, I want to use it. And so I did that same with this 6x6, the flower centers. I didn't do it with every flower, just some of them. I added those Nouveau drops. And I always let my Nouveau drops dry for several hours or overnight before I do anything else. And what I try to do is I do this the very last step, even after I do my journaling, because I'm always afraid I'm going to touch it and mess it up. But if you do put Nouveau drops on, and of course it's just not very far, get one of these nail orange sticks, and you can use that beveled edge and scrape it off, and it works. It does work. So you can, so don't be too afraid. Now let's talk about the twine for a minute, because this is just a twine bundle right here. What did I use to adhere this? Because you can see that puppy is not going to move. It's not going to shift when I put it in a page protector. And I use this Tombow Mono Liquid Aqua Clear Glue. Yes, and I will have a video linked below that I will show you how a little mini tutorial about using twine in a banner using this glue. So I will have that video listed below, and also I will have a video listed below where I did some stitching last fall, and I talked about some more tips and tricks when it comes to stitching, because you may see that in the next layout. It depends on what I get into. So I will definitely have those two videos. Look down below, and I'll have them try it closer to the top. So just hit that show more button. Okay, wow, that was a lot of talk. Yes, yes. Okay, so how did I adhere my button? Let's talk about adhesives, because I got that question. And someone had asked me just this morning if I could do a video soon where I'm actually gluing items down. Sure, I would absolutely do that. I don't know if anybody would find that interesting, but sure. I mean, it's just gluing. That's all it is. But I will show you the adhesives that I used. This is not an adhesive. This is just a treatment. This is just, yeah, fun. I'm trying to learn it. I'm trying to learn to love that. So what did I use? Let's see. For treatment, I used Wink of Stella. That was right there. But these are not really Wink of Stellas. What are these called? I got these a Tuesday morning. I don't know, but they're not Wink of Stella, but that's a nice pen. It was a Tuesday, whatever was in Tuesday morning, but it's a glitter pen. And then, of course, the Nouveau Crystal Drops. So, of course, I used my ATG. I used my Mono liquid for the thread. It just stays really well, and it just, when it dries, it hardens, and so then that thread's not going to move. For my button, I used my Superglue Gel, and someone recently asked me where I found this. I have more luck finding this at Target than any place else. Target, Walmart, and they do have it in along with this type of glue. And so then everything else, my die cuts, and making sure it passes the bend test. All those items is using my quick dry, which is my favorite. And again, this quick dry adhesive does not come with this nozzle. That is by the Joggles brand. And I'll just put the Joggles link below. And if you want to know this one specifically, call them and say, this is the bottle of glue, whether it's Glossy Accents, which is a quick dry, whatever adhesive, Eileen's Tack It Over and Over, whatever adhesive you have, call them and say, what nozzle do I need? They will tell you exactly, because it's not exactly like the Fineline applicator. So joggles.com, great customer service. Okay, that was a lot of talk, but I think I talked about everything. Absolutely. Let's talk about what we're going to do in the next video. In the next video, we are going to be playing with sketch 2 and 4. Both of those together. So that's what we're going to do. So thank you for being excited about this series, because that makes me excited. When you bring me joy, it just brings me joy. Absolutely. So that's all I have for today. Stay tuned for close-ups and come back to RTS, because you never know what we're going to do. Bye.